In this video, I'm going to show you what 1 summer of growth and 2 summers of growth looks like for switchgrass. So this right here, this is planted, I think this was planted in June sometime, or maybe a little bit earlier. Early June, I think it was planted. And as you can see, it's pretty tall for being only about a month and a half. And so this is at least 2 feet tall. This is my best switchgrass screen. I broadcasted pretty heavy on this, 2 pounds for this little strip right here, but overall it was worth it because there's basically no weeds in this. So if you really want to control weeds, you know, you're gonna have to put in the time, the effort, and the money to get the weed killer and all of that, when you might have to spend, if you spend a little bit extra to make sure that you get a really good seeding. I don't even need to come in and spray this or mow this. It's looking so good. So did that. This is, like I said, this is 1 year of growth, and it still has more to grow until winter, but this is really good switchgrass. This is our screen to get into the mock scrape stand, and then we got a field over here, so it's just, this is going to block my access coming into the stand, so that way deer back in here won't see me when I come in. And so really all I did with this is I tilled up the ground right here to over there. You probably can't see it, but probably just this 45-ish yard strip right here. I disked it all, or I mowed it first, disked it, and then came in here, sprayed we planted switchgrass over it, and then we sprayed glyphosate over the switchgrass right on top of the seed, right on top of the soil. So mow, till, spread or seed, and then weed killer. That's all we did to this, and we sprayed glyphosate on it, and just a little bit because it's not that much, and it did not hurt the switchgrass seed, as you can see, and it is coming up super well. And I'm really excited to see what it looks like this year. It's still got a long way to grow. It could even be a foot taller, 6 inches to a foot taller, until winter hits. And then I'll show you my 2-year-old switchgrass here in a second. But it's super simple to establish switchgrass if you know the right steps to do it. And so the food plot is looking, it's got a couple weeds in it, probably should have mowed it, but I've just been really busy working on the food plot itself and working on this. But once the weeds die out, the switchgrass will still stand, the weeds will die out, and then we'll have new growth come back next year and we'll mow it next year. So it's totally fine. And then over in the other bedding area, that switchgrass is coming in pretty good, but overall they're all coming in pretty good, my new switchgrass plantings for this year. But this is by far the best one. This was the latest plant, or the latestly planted. It was the last one, like I said, that I planted, and it is taller than every other of my switchgrass screenings because they're longer and bigger, and I broadcasted really heavily on this. So like I said, this is one summer growth switchgrass, still got more to go, looking really good. And now we'll go over to the 2-year-old switchgrass. So here we are in the 2-year-old switchgrass spot, and you might think there's a bunch of weeds in here, but it's not. This is actually where the field meets the switchgrass, and so these are the weeds in between the field and the switchgrass. The field's just right behind the camera. So these weeds are fine, they're not going to hurt the switchgrass. And so as you can see, the switchgrass is basically as tall as me, and this is the second summer of growth. So they're close to 6 foot tall, if they aren't. But this is really good switchgrass, really good bedding, and so 2-year-old switchgrass is the best switchgrass, and on from there is really the best for whitetail habitat and whitetail bedding. And I can prove it to you right now because just had, when I rode the 4-wheeler up here, had a fawn right here with spots on it right in front of me, had a doe back there, and they didn't spook off at all when I rode the 4-wheeler up, and they came back in here. And then just a second ago, a smaller buck came and ran across this field. So that already shows you that this is already being used as a bedding area, will be used as a bedding area in the fall. And we know that because this is the only other bedding spot on this property besides the one back there, and they use these throughout the years, this in the summer and in the fall. But this is a very rare property where they use summer bedding as fall bedding in over there and over here. So just because a deer is bedding somewhere in the summer doesn't mean they're going to go back there in the fall. But seeing how this property has such low cover, they literally have to bed in these summer spots, and it's still good quality fall cover too. But it's great fawning habitat. Like I said, I just had a fawn right over here. So this switchgrass is the best grass that you can use to just for deer to bed in and feel safe and secure in. And this, a bunch of the switchgrass is 6 foot tall. It gets even cleaner. There's a little bit of weeds right here, but it gets a lot cleaner when it goes back there. And so by the end of this year, this is going to be a super thick screen. Nothing can see in and nothing will be able to see out. And this is probably just even a 6 foot wide switchgrass, and it's 6 foot tall too. So that just shows you how good switchgrass can do to help whitetail habitat. Like I said, the bucks that have been in here, the doe and the fawn that was right here, the buck that just ran out, all of this is really good bedding and really great cover, really great fawning habitat as well in the summer. And it's just an overall really great seed, a really great grass that can help and support wildlife during the fall and during the summer. So it's also one of the quickest establishing grasses too. Like I said, I planted this just last year, and it's already 6 foot tall. And now I say I've planted it 2 years because that's 2 growing seasons. Usually you measure it on how, like this one, this isn't a year-old switchgrass, this is a season-old switchgrass. This is 2 season-old switchgrass. This is basically mature switchgrass. Any switchgrass that has gone from the 2 seasons of summer, and we're close to saying we're done with the summer here, because this probably won't grow much more because it's already 6 foot tall. It might grow a little bit more, but this is basically done growing. 6 foot tall, super wide, best grass that you can use for whitetail habitat, and like I said, super quick establishment too. So planted this last year, already 6 foot tall, and it might even grow a little bit more by the end of the season. And the 1-year-old switchgrass over here that we just visited, that's going to be the same seed, same everything that I did to it. And excited to see what that switchgrass does this next year too. So if you're thinking about planting switchgrass, just know that it's a really good investment in time and in money. If you really want to hold deer on your property and hold bucks, like I mentioned, the deer that just spooked 3 deer out of here coming in here. And this just really holds the deer during the summer and during the fall. So hopefully you can get that switchgrass even this year, be able to plant it next spring, and then by the next hunting season after that in 2 years, you'll have a super thick switchgrass screen just like this, and it will hold deer and bucks consistently throughout the whole entire year. So I hope that helps you if you have any questions about switchgrass, and I just can't wait to see what this spot does during the fall this season.